entrepreneur insight. Where silence isn't weakness, it's weaponry. Where restraint isn't fear, it's design. Where the loudest brand isn't the richest, the quietest one is. Cut to fast flashes of global CEOs, boardrooms, blueprints, cities waking up. Neka Ade didn't wait for a legacy, she authored her own. Masiyiwa went to court for 5 years, not for a fight but for a future. They didn't post it, they planned it, they didn't hype it, they hardwired it into systems the world can't live without. You want to win? Master silence, time your explosion. Let your brand become the storm, not just another tweet in the rain. Forget clout, build control, forget noise, build necessity, forget followers, create something that follows people home. This isn't motivation, it's a mirror. Look in it. Now ask yourself, are you building a brand or just buying time?
They whispered behind our backs, laughed at our ideas, called our dreams too big, too bold, too impossible. And you know what we did? We stayed silent. We built, because that's how empires rise. Not with noise, not with validation, but with vision, strategy, and quiet execution. This is the untold story of how true empires are born. Silence is misunderstood. In a loud world where everyone's shouting to be seen, silence almost feels like invisibility. But for us, silence was our greatest weapon. While they posted, we planned. While they showed off, we showed up every single day. In silence, we listened, we studied, we observed the gaps no one else noticed. We weren't quiet because we lacked ideas. We were quiet because we respected our vision enough to protect it from noise. You see, most people confuse silence with weakness, but every builder knows the foundation of anything great is laid in stillness. And when the world didn't hear us, it's not because we had nothing to say. It's because we were too focused doing the very thing they said couldn't be done. We weren't looking for applause. We were digging deep into strategy, into purpose, into becoming. Empires don't rise from loud entrances. They rise when no one's watching. And not just any strategy, the kind that stretches beyond quarterly wins and viral moments. We knew where we were going long before we arrived. We played the long game when they chased the moment. We asked ourselves the hard questions. What problem are we really solving? Who are we becoming in the process? How do we build something that lasts longer than the noise? It wasn't about working harder. It was about working wiser. We studied the greats, not just their wins, but their failures too. We decoded patterns, predicted trends, and most of all, we stayed adaptable. Because true strategy isn't rigid. It breathes. We knew when to pivot, when to pause, and most importantly, when to say no. While they focused on being everywhere, we focused on being effective. Our strategy wasn't to compete. It was to create, to design something so true to our DNA that imitation wouldn't even make sense. We weren't building products. We were building ecosystems, communities, cultures, and each move we made, it had intention, precision, patience. The world called it luck when we rose. But every inch of our elevation was written in the blueprint of our strategy. Now comes the part most people forget: execution. It's one thing to have a vision. It's another to make it real, brick by brick, day by day. Execution is where dreams meet discipline. It's where vision turns to systems and passion turns to process. There are no shortcuts, no buenas miracles, just consistent, relentless, almost boring repetition of doing the work. We built when we were tired, showed up when no one clapped, improved when no one noticed. We learned to love the grind, not the glamorized hustle, but the quiet, daily commitment that success demands. It wasn't always perfect. We failed a lot, but we never stopped building, because empires are made in the doing, not the dreaming. We didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. We started with what we had, and we refined as we climbed, because momentum doesn't come from planning forever. It comes from moving, failing, tweaking, and growing. And guess what? While they were still talking, we were shipping, delivering, executing. They never saw it coming, not because we were hiding, but because they weren't looking for substance. They were looking for noise. And by the time they realized it was too late, the empire was already rising, rooted, resilient, real, because we didn't build for applause. We built for impact. So if you're listening to this today, keep building. Let them whisper. Let them doubt. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to execute. Because the loudest stories, They're written in silence. And the greatest empires? They never announce their arrival. They simply rise.